Welcome to Brands on Tap, the podcast where we discuss all things brand related.
So whether you're a business owner, industry expert, or simply interested, this podcast is for you. Hello, and welcome back to Brands on Tap, where this week we're going to be talking all about landing pages and why you should use landing pages for your business. So,
yeah, all about landing
very
pages.
interesting.
All about landing pages this week. Haven't come up with a title for this yet.
No.
This podcast.
But that's the fun part. I like that part, the coming up with the time. I'm not very good at it though.
No, it's not easy.
It's normally a jazz job.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest, is it?
No.
But basically, yeah, we'll be discussing what is a landing page, why would you need one, do you even need one?
Yeah.
And basically just covering off kind of what would make a good landing page as opposed to a not so good landing page.
Landing pages for dummies.
Yeah.
That's my name suggestion.
Okay, I like
We'll see
that.
if that makes the cut.
Works. Landing page for dummies. That's quite nice. Yeah. So basically, just trying to kind of have as Ellie said, 101. Just quickly kind of covering why you'd use one, benefits, possibly some negatives to using a landing page.
Yeah.
And where it's best suited and where it's not so perhaps suited, and a Google ad or an organic page or something may be more effective without one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Agreed. Cool. So I guess we should just kick off with what is a landing page?
Good place to start. Yeah, so essentially a landing page would be a dedicated page on your website in order to try and achieve something for you. So obviously Ellie and Jazz in the marketing side, quite often you deal with...
I love a landing page.
You love a landing page, yeah, because it's much more focused, isn't it, than a normal...
Well, yeah, it's campaign specific, so you can really gate what people see, and you can share this relevant information to them rather than them just being driven to your site and having to find it themselves. Depends on what, how they've got to the site too. Like if it's like a PPC campaign, like on Google, I guess it kind of depends what the aim is.
Yeah, 100%.
But an interesting place to land, I guess. But
yeah, a much more. It's almost like it's, as the way I see it, it's like it's a customer journey. So
yeah,
if a client wants us to kind of, ideally they'd give us a marketing plan or a marketing structure for their business.
That doesn't always happen.
Doesn't always happen.
That's okay too.
But it's very difficult to kind of gauge any kind of marketing success without having some direction or structure. So usually we'd start with that, and then we'd have that kind of vision of, right, how much does this need to do, this campaign? How much return on investment are they looking for, and how much are they looking to spend? Because obviously if it's ad based, the spend is usually quite a first question that we'd have with them, and quite a sticking point for them to sort of say, okay, I'm looking to spend, usually they come to us and say, I'm looking to spend, I don't know, £500, a fairly safe figure. It's quite a random figure, we find, because it's just something that's not too expensive, not too cheap, but something they wouldn't sort of miss that much each month if it brought something back.
True.
Whereas we could have another client where they've got, an extensive range of products. And we always mention Darthaven, that's probably not the best, but even sort of Art Marine that we're working with now as well. There's an extensive range of products on offer there, and it's important that the budget that you put into the ads
is reflected
of that. So I think that then sort of would give us some initial guide as to say, right, do we need a landing page based on your budget? Because obviously if the budget's low, then you've got more cost to create the landing page, you've got more time to put together.
True.
You've got the content for the landing page, you've got copy to write.
Yeah.
It's very, very effective way of converting, as you said, because it's keeping somebody on that journey.
Yeah.
But it's more cost. So if your budget's quite low, that's where it kind of, the argument of, do you send them to a page on your website instead that's got nice copy that converts, instead of the homepage is a dangerous place to send anyone, because it's like a shop window, isn't it? It's everything.
It's where do you start? And if you're looking for something really specific, you then go on a website and you've got to find that yourself. You're adding so many steps to the process, and you're kind of expecting people to find what they need, whereas because they could click on a competitor's ad or landing page and be given it straight away, so you need to be kind of gating that process and making it really easy.
It's a good point, yeah, because that's another thing to to consider, is that if your competitors are coming up alongside you, if they've got landing pages, if they're doing the same, then that initial research and that marketing budget really plays a big role in your overall campaign.
Yeah, and I mean, even you're just saying about budget and where you prioritise that, whether it's a landing page or ad spend, sometimes I guess you also have to consider whether actually in the long run a landing page is going to help you more, because that journey's improved, rather than just kickstarting ads, going to the homepage and not seeing anything off the back of it.
100%. Yeah. And we get so many people come to us saying, I've tried Google Ads, I've tried using landing pages, it's not worked. And the trouble is we don't know the methodology. We don't know if they've sat down and calculated what they're looking to spend, what the return is. Because there would usually be, without going into that in this debate, because we're trying to talk about landing pages, but there'd usually be a calculation that we'd use based on several factors, which would say, look, what's your product's worth? What is your service worth? What are you looking to kind of get back from it? How many inquiries do you want roughly? And then calculate that over a much longer period. So like you say, it's much more important to get that first step right and get that landing page nailed, and that can serve you then for a year, 2 years even, because your products aren't going to extensively change that much in that time, but you might have had to spend, or service, you might have had to spend that a little bit more money initially to make the landing page.
Even if you forfeit the first month of ad spend, to go towards that.
And start it a bit later. It's
better to, I think, start confidently, hit the ground running.
Agreed.
Than just fire money at an ad campaign that perhaps isn't.
Agree. Yeah. I think that's where it's difficult for us sometimes, because we can advise.
Yeah.
But we can't force a client to do. So I think that's where we're coming from. As a best practice advice regarding a landing page, I think we would always be pro a landing page if you're spending time and effort in an ad.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if it's relevant. There's somewhere, if you're doing like a generic, if you're just trying to get traffic to your site and it's more information based, then fair enough. Perhaps it is more appropriate to just have the homepage.
That's exactly what I was referring to earlier. Yeah.
Or if you wanted to have like a contact variant, because you already have that awareness there, then fair enough.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. That's what I was referring to with regards to sometimes you can do an ad or you can do a campaign without a landing page, but it has to be the right scenario. It has to be the suitable, has to be the kind of the direction you're looking to get from it.
Yeah.
Has to be usually more generic or specific to a service, where you've got that service page really well crafted.
Yeah.
And the client's got the budget to just throw at marketing service pages.
Yeah.
And hope that some traffic hits it, and I think that would work. But the purpose, I think, and where the landing page really comes in, is for that message, like we said in that story. So if you're seeing an ad that says, something very specific about something that client can offer them, let's say, for example, again, using ARC as a kind of dry run case study, if you like, if we were going to do a campaign for them, which no doubt, we will be in the future. If there's a very specific market there and a very specific need that someone's searching for, offshore, sustainable.
I feel like context-wise, ARC is a reef creation company.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like sustainability.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, context-wise.
Yeah. I feel like we're just like ARC this, ARC that.
Giving some background. Yeah. So it'd be
it's very niche.
It is quite niche. Yeah, exactly. Niche. And they've got that
niche
benefit.
for the everyday person, but if you were aware of it, or a business person, you probably are far more aware.
If you're searching for something quite specific and you know what your needs are, I think that's why I was using them as an example. Then yes, you're right. We haven't really explained that they are. They try to restore the reefs basically.
Yeah.
In the environment. So what you'd be looking for as a buyer potentially could be something quite specific. So if you were to take into like a service page, yes, if we've crafted that service page properly, you'd expect to see everything you need on there. But it might be a search term that's very specific to a type of application, offshore wind or a turbine, for example, that's in the ocean that you're searching for, that you need the answers specifically to that topic. So what you're going to expect to find is a landing page that tells you the answers to your question. And I think that's the benefit of a landing page over, say, a service page, which might cover it and might mention it, but like Ellie said, you're waiting
you're kind of hoping
somebody to find that.
Agreed. Well, and I guess kind of like marketing wise, a landing page is really beneficial if you don't have other traffic going to it elsewhere, if it's not findable on the site.
100% agree,
etc. So you can kind of basically, if you were only using it for Google Ads, which we've done for clients before, where that's been like appropriate, you know that all of that traffic on that page has come through a Google ad, because unless they've directly inside the URL, in which case they're probably returning. So
you're right. We've not covered the tracking side of it actually yet, but the tracking side is a really important point to make, because if you want very clear tracking and you want a dedicated, like we've just been speaking about, that customer journey and that flow of what they're looking for, hand-holding them In exactly the same way as like a salesman would. If you went to sell a product in person, you wouldn't generically explain your whole range of products to someone that you knew was looking for a specific product in mind, because you'd be wasting your time.
Yeah.
You'd be wasting their time, which is what's happening if they're looking on your website and not seeing what they're looking for. They're going to get either tired or fed up and look at someone else's site. But as that, that strong direction from that salesman, you'd be just going in straight away looking at, right, what do I need to sell this person? What are they looking for?
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly where the landing page comes in, is it's trying to be that, oh, you've searched for this term. We specifically
Here's
offer
all
this.
this info that's relevant to you.
We offer this service in a very succinct way. The trust building can be on there. So if it's very specific trust.
Yeah. We'll get on to trust building, I think, because that's, I think, where the value is in a landing page. But we'll get on to that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's where the value will be. But you've got those segments on there so that page itself, from a trackability point of view, like you said, is very focused.
Yeah.
I think. Whereas if you've got a service page and you are tracking it, you've got various different people coming from different sources, different traffic. It's difficult unless you're using tools out there like Hotjar, for example, which allows heat map tracking, so you can see the.
It's interesting to look at
it is really
Hotjar
interesting.
Heat map.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you've not seen it before, I guess the only way to explain it is it's like a video of someone's journey on your site, and then also like it creates heat maps so you can see those common areas where people spend time. But I quite enjoy having a look at those sometimes. But then saying that, not all of our clients have it.
No.
But if you don't, you should.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's another layer of data, which it's very difficult to it's very easy to cast judgment and aspersions on what people are doing.
Yeah,
going,
but you just
this is
have
wrong,
no
that's wrong on the page, or people aren't liking this.
Yeah.
But other than kind of quite common analytic tools out there, like Plausible, Google Analytics, where you can click kind of data levels, behaviors, clicks, it's still very difficult to gauge someone's thought process from just clicks and data without seeing that where that Hotjar comes in, or similar products are available.
We're not only plugging Hotjar,
partners, but it's just it's an example of a tool that can offer that next level of ability to see what someone's doing on the site. And I think certainly with mobile users and things, when you're just seeing basically flick commands, it's very difficult to know what's put someone off.
Yeah, that's so true. But it is useful to know, even if you're using mobile or like, why can I not think of the term? Like a computer. Don't know why that got stuck. You can still see where they are and where they click off. Yeah. Like if you've seen that they've literally scoped the whole site for information, but they've just gone. Well, something might be wrong. And actually, there might be common touch points where they leave.
Yes.
And you might have to think, oh, maybe I've written something in that paragraph that's not quite doing it for me.
Exactly.
Or yeah,
you can finesse it, I think, and that then helps you lead you on to another. And when you do another landing page for another client, that's the benefit of kind of using us as an agency, for example, for landing pages. We've got kind of a wealth of years of experience of things that haven't worked or things that are less effective, and really the things that do work, and trying to prioritize them on the landing page to be like, these are the things we need at the beginning. You need to explain the product clearly. Copywriting is always bread and butter for a landing page. You need to be writing copy in the same tone of voice as the ad and as the client wants to be represented by, so that you're not kind of creating that disconnect between suddenly I've hit a very salesy ad, which I see a lot for quite a big business, and you hit a landing page and it's very salesy, it's quite generic, and it's quite to the point of, this is the discount, this is what we need you to do. And again, I think that can come across quite pushy depending on the client's needs. It's not always an instant click or an instant sale, I think, is the other point to take home. So if a client's a service-based one,
it could take months.
It could. And they want to see that instant click.
Yeah, and I think that's almost a client expectation thing sometimes, is that you're going to start Google ads or start like Facebook, Instagram ads and expect to see instant conversions. And unfortunately, that isn't always the case. If it's more of a product thing, then perhaps I'm so guilty of it. I'll see one thing on TikTok and think, I need that. Yeah. And I'll need it now. So I am going to click on that and I am going to buy it off TikTok shop right now. But if it's like a service, it could be weeks, months. And like recruitment, it could be years, that funnel. Yeah. You just don't know, but you have to be there at every opportunity. So when someone searches for you, they're not looking for you. They're not having to scope for you. You need to be there to kind of hold their hand when they are ready. It's a nice term, isn't it? Holding their hand.
Yeah.
That's what a landing page does, hold your hand.
Yeah, not in a no way, in a no intent sort of creepy way. Yeah. Just a very sort of
it guides
gentle
you.
Kind of guiding way.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. And I think not in a forceful way either, like you say. So you've got that's another point you touched on is, platforms, TikTok, social media platforms. I think to make a landing page as effective as it possibly can be, you don't want one single source of getting there.
Yeah.
So if you're running a Google ad, yeah, great. It's a result of a Google ad, but
Yeah.
then it's thinking outside the box, thinking, well, actually, I could run this on Facebook. I could put it on
Yeah.
TikTok. I could put
Yeah,
it on
you don't have
Instagram.
to just channel it to that one thing.
No, and you could create quite a fairly simple graphic,
Yeah.
which can have links, which clicks off to the landing page. So you've teased someone, you've gathered their interest,
Yeah.
but they're seeing much more information and more in depth, breakdown of that service, that product on the
Yeah.
landing page, which I think is a
true.
really good way of using them, and something again we don't see all that often when people run an ad with one. They just think, right, that's sorted now, we've got the ad, we've got the landing page, we're done.
Yeah, box
But actually,
ticked.
yeah, you've got that landing page now to serve as your
Yeah.
kind of sales tool, really.
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
little tool for a specific you would have that discussion again with the client. What are the real areas of pushing for sales or for services? That landing page is then crafted.
It kind of almost like hierarchically displays your key messages.
Yeah.
So you'd have like your hero section, which is your
Yeah.
ultimate aim, and then everything following beneath, leading to that point of initial contact
Exactly
or
that.
sale.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So again, like likening it to a salesman again, I suppose if you came in with somebody that you were trying to promote a product to or a service, if you just waffled and you went a lot around the houses of what the product's about, why that person's, or either they're going to kind of just drift off, or they're going to think, yeah, but you still haven't answered my question. The question I've asked,
That's so
that
true.
we've targeted the landing page to answer, I haven't had that question answered.
You have to kind of put yourself in their user's shoes for every eventuality and basically answer every question in a way that's really simple, not too wordy. There's a lot of boxes to tick.
There are, yeah. It's one of those things where you can see them everywhere, and you almost don't even know sometimes when.
I didn't even know what they were before working in marketing.
No, you wouldn't, and you wouldn't be conscious of them. I think a lot of people. That's another good point. A lot of people aren't conscious necessarily they're landing on a landing page. They just think, oh, and before they know it, they've been sold to.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you know the landing page is good. But if you ask somebody, they would say, I didn't know I was on a landing page.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's a landing page? And I think that's where that success comes in. Whereas if you go on one and you think someone would say to you, God, that's really salesy or that's pretty pushy, I think that's when you've not quite hit the mark. And you've made it too obvious that is a landing page and it's coming across. But like you say, you've got the divide for sure, like e-commerce, sales and services.
I
There
feel
are
like
different
they almost
tactics.
Landing pages can't be blanket applied. You can't have one and then think, right, I'll just rewrite the copy and use it for something else. It doesn't work like that.
Industries affect it. The industry, like obviously we work with interior designers. Somebody that lands on an interior design landing
it's so
page,
different.
it's going to be chalk and cheese different from say someone like a Screwfix landing page where they're going to say, this is our latest deal. These are our flagship products. These are our best sellers.
Yeah.
And under here we've got all these deals on.
Yeah.
That's going to be largely a numbers based result for that landing page. There'll be a certain amount of people that think, I need that at the moment, you've got me at the right time, I need these, I want that sale. You're going to get results from that provided you've put your best sellers and the order of information on your products has been thought about. You're going to get results from that because you know your audience.
But then if it's like interior design, it's far more informative and kind of that nurturing, pushing them down the funnel and saying you're going to be there when they're ready, because it's a huge financial decision to make to onboard someone like that, more than anything, I guess.
Agree. And there's I think, like, if you're looking into an emotion spectrum as well, I think there's a higher emotional spectrum with services that offer longer term relationships or more intimate kind of.
You have to do your research thoroughly, like.
Yeah, you do. And certainly with ourselves with design, people have certain desires, certain likes, dislikes, certain wants, and I think if you've got an idea of what that person wants, certainly from an interior design point of view, or even a service, say you want somebody to come in and kind of refit your house out, there's still going to be an element of you need to buy into that person, you need to really like who they are as a brand, you need to be confident they're going to come in and make the house or the space the way you want it. That's very different trust building to say a landing page.
Buying a stone cold product that you think I could return if I don't like it.
100%. And your price is probably one of the
biggest
biggest
low risk,
things.
isn't it?
Low risk, and you need it at the time. Like you're saying with TikTok, there's quite a time-based thing.
Like, tell me why I've just bought a kilogram bag of blueberry flavoured or raspberry flavoured sweets. I didn't need that, but I've done it. I'm really excited about that.
Just worn you down, yeah.
yeah, I see those TikToks all the time. They do just get me.
Yeah.
But then I think my interest in marketing comes from being a sucker for marketing. Like,
that's the funny thing about marketing and advertising is even with landing pages, you know what one is, but when you're on one, you're still subject
you're
to
analysing it as well.
You are analysing it, but if the product's appealing to you,
if
someone's got the right formula, they've got the right hierarchy, they're telling you what you need to know, you still buy into it because you think, I've still bought the story, even though I know the method behind it.
So
but
true.
I think you're right, you scrutinise things more when it's not as effective.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I'm not doing that now. Like, they've done that wrong. No.
But you made a good point with TikTok. Like, I think you can chase people with that as well in a delicate way. So if you showed some interest in something.
Yeah. It's like forgotten your basket.
Exactly that, yeah.
Did you see the Liquid Death one?
I didn't.
So I don't even know, I'm assuming Liquid Death is like energy drinks.
Yeah.
But their like LinkedIn brand is quite good. And they did a like forgotten basket email where it said like, looks like you died, like question mark, like did you die? Like, but like it's got loads of attention. But like people are like, it's funny because it's on brand for them.
Yeah. It's brave. Like, it's a brave move, but you're right, it's on brand. But
go back to landing pages, you can basically track that page, and then if you have the right permissions, you can remarket to them.
Yeah. There's a good example of something's quite, if you want to take a risk, see how successful that risk is. Again, a landing page is very good because you can track everything that's coming from that particular direction. The messaging, everything's very specific to see, is that a good shout, or actually is that putting people off, or is it too risky?
Yeah.
But I think also, using tools and effective analytical techniques like remarketing. So if you've shown some interest in sweets, in your example, or you go on a website where you're looking at blueberry sweets, the best thing you can do with that landing page is have the knowledge and the awareness that you can then remarket on other systems. So if you're then approaching somebody on TikTok or on Google, that sale that you could have otherwise lost, you've then maximized on.
Yeah. So
and you've used that logic of this person's interested in that. And I think that also leads us on to kind of lead capture with landing pages. So there's a really strong focus on lead capture.
But not nagging them.
Not nagging them. You've got to really give somebody... People are quite sensitive these days as well in terms of giving information up quickly.
Yeah.
And with GDPR and things like that and data protection, I think people are even more kind of thinking, well,
why do you need that?
Yeah, why do you want my information? Why do you want my email? What do I get out of it? But something like a simple 15% off, 10% off.
Yeah, but sometimes...
I still give it up.
Yeah, I do if it says, do you know what really gets me is when it says like sign up to our newsletter, get 10% off. And I think, I'll do that. But then, if I'm in a rush and I'm like, no, I don't do that now. And the no button is like, no thanks, I don't want money off. Oh, that gets me. And then I'm like, right, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, no thanks, I'd like to spend the full 100%.
Yeah, when me and Jazz went to that building brands, there was a guy there speaking about that.
Was there?
Yeah, and it was actually really useful.
Psychology, basically making people feel like, why, double checking, why would you not want to?
Yeah, even things like instead of like sign up to a newsletter, or no, I can't remember what it was now. Instead of join, it was like sign up. Because join sounds really like you're having to commit something, but you're not.
100%, that's a really good point. And the psychology of copywriting. And also
so
so many sites.
All day about that.
Yeah, you definitely could.
Yeah.
So many sites that say sign up to our newsletter, and it's very direct and it's very bland and it's very expected. People think, well, I don't want to sign up to your newsletter. But if it was,
you see it everywhere, don't you? Like sign up, sign up, sign up.
Yeah, exactly. But what it's not doing is telling that person immediately what they're getting from you. Like, why should they sign up?
To get 10% off.
To get 10% off.
Or more.
Or more. Yeah. Exclusive offers, or, get a discount.
What are they going to get in that newsletter?
Yeah. What am I going to see? What's the benefit to me? How many am I going to get a month?
Yeah, some of them are just like, join our mailing list. They just keep it so generic. And I just think, what are you going to send me? Are you going to send me 100 emails a day?
Yeah.
Like Debenhams. Like Debenhams have been doing the rounds on LinkedIn because they send people so many emails when it's like forgotten basket, everything.
Really?
Yeah. Like so many. But
that's interesting. Yeah, some of the bigger brands, I think, you assume they've got it nailed.
So many flows going on that I feel like they don't know what they've got going on.
No. That's a really good point, talking into flows. Yeah, so now you've got the whole theory of kind of using AI or tools like Klaviyo, even MailChimp, other tools like that, where you've got that intelligent flow system running. So if a client behaves in a certain way... Or a customer...
well, it wouldn't be a client behaving in a certain way, would it? Oh, right, okay, you mean, with you now.
Yeah, I meant as in like a kind of, whoever's engaging a
perspective.
client in the terms of like someone that, because I'm
Client,
considering
customer,
services
prospect.
as well, so it wouldn't necessarily a
No,
customer.
yeah, that's true.
A customer would usually, in my eyes, would usually be somebody that kind of is more in the purchasing realm. A client is somebody it's a bit more long-term relationship with.
That's so true. Yeah.
So even when you're signing up, you could still be a client that's interacting with a service-based business, and you want to be on their mailing list but obviously you can use this intelligence to continue that hand-holding, as you put it earlier, but also that relationship, so that it's not coming across like all you want from them is to sell to them and their email. You actually want to give them something back. And I think that's where you can link in a landing page with a really successful email campaign, because what you're doing is giving someone value back. What someone doesn't want is just to be sold to all the time.
No, that's
I think that's the biggest put off is, why do I want to be on your newsletter and just receive all your sales emails?
Don't need to know every time you've got 10% off.
You don't. No. But for example, with a Screwfix analogy again, because I've seen a couple of emails to come in from Screwfix before we left.
Signed up to that mailing
fresh
list.
in my mind. I haven't yet actually, but it's fresh in my mind. I don't know how they've got my email, but it's giving me back perhaps guides or facts about things that might occur in the house, say over winter, that I could benefit from and think, I've learnt something from that,
like
or there's but in amongst that you're advertising what they sell, but you're not just
you're
blatantly
trying to
saying,
say like, here's a problem, we can solve it, rather than saying like, just buy this product for no reason. Some
value to me signing up that could possibly upskill my DIY skills or make me more aware of how to do something in the house that otherwise, without knowing it, I wouldn't buy the product anyway. So I think that's a good point, because obviously where you've got a facility that product needs, so you might need someone to come in and do something for you with it, that's going to make you think, well, hold on, I could just get someone in to do that. Or whereas, with the example of Screwfix, if you want to do it yourself, the barrier could be that, like, can I do it myself? And if they can help upskill you through a mailing list that you've signed in for a landing page, and it's communicated that's the benefit, I think that's a good example where you're trying to give something back to that customer.
Yeah, that's true.
And obviously that could extend, like I said, with a client scenario, that would extend for a service-based business where you're not just saying, sign up to a newsletter, get the latest from us, hear what we're doing. It's more, it's going to be from that person. They're going to also know, what's the benefit to me? How can you help me?
That's true. Some people don't, it depends on the business, but some people don't care what you're doing as a business. Like as a customer to a business, I probably think like, okay, brilliant. But don't tell me.
Once a year, maybe an update or something like that. You don't want to think that all that's coming through is that. And I think that's a really vital point from a landing page in the sense of customer retention. Because if you've got, hundreds and hundreds of sign-ups from a landing page, okay, they might not have made an immediate reaction. They might not have bought something. They might not have used your service yet. But you're able to then trickle feed to them over time with things that benefit them. And they will see the value in your brand over time.
And depending on what the topic of the landing page is, or the service, or the whatever, you can tailor that content specifically to that list of people from that page, so you know that they've been on that page, so they've searched for something relevant to that service or clicked on a Facebook ad, whatever.
Exactly that.
So you can, like, in addition to all of your generic flows, you can have specific niche ones.
Yeah, very true. And that can also extend to how specific the sign up request is. So whatever you're asking them to sign up for can really help you to then nuance that list into segments, which obviously it can do intelligently for you now anyway, but you can interject and you can really target people that like those particular areas of your business or like those products that you offer, and not waste time marketing to, from a wine example, trying to sell people white wine that only have ever bought red. If they're really into red wine and you can see the pattern there, best bet is to try and sell them all red wine, right? Not flog white wine to them and they say, well, I don't really drink white wine, or I've never ordered it before. So you've got to be mindful of your audience. I mean, there is an argument there, yes, in the bottom of, say, the marketing, you could try and kind of coax them into, do you know what else we do? You can't just rule someone out entirely from white wine, for example, because they might still like it. They just haven't been aware. They haven't bought from you. They haven't been aware of the offering you've got.
Might have a favourite one in Sainsbury's.
They might,
not asked about buying it from you. You've got my favourite already.
Exactly that.
Don't ask, won't know.
No, exactly that. So I think that's an example where perhaps AI would go down that road of like, well, this person likes red wine, let's just send them
red wine.
Yeah, but actually it's not considering the fact, but they still might buy something
might
else.
dabble.
Yeah, so I think
Christmas
crafting
special.
that kind of email in a way that's also mindful that you can sell people other things.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, it really comes down to the messaging on the actual landing page. So how you're creating that, what your objectives are, whether it's a product or a service, and then really how you're trying to convert that person.
Yeah. What you're asking them to do.
You
need to make that so obvious as well. You can't be like, have someone land on the page and then think, okay, well, what do I do now? Like, yes, I want to do whatever it is. I want to buy, I want to inquire, I want to find out more. You need to make that so clear so that they can just click the button and think, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
100%. And what the weakness of a landing page is, if you like, really, in terms of, say, comparing it to a human or a salesperson, is that you're not in front of that person.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you're trying to sell something to someone or introduce your brand or tell someone what your passion is behind your business, you've got that face-to-face.
Immediacy.
People can kind of feed off you, get your kind of personality and your friendliness or whatever, and your enthusiasm for the brand from you. And I think that goes a long way in terms of still from a classic kind of sales technique, whereas a landing page can come across, if you're not careful, as quite a static piece of information for somebody.
Yeah.
And it can be quite guarded. So I think, again, wherever possible, we'd encourage video on there to try and kind of get a client to talk face to face to somebody to say, this is what we're about, why we love what we do, this is our brand, why you should buy from us, why you should use us, trust us.
Yeah.
And I think even in this day and age, we've always said it, and clients say it all the time to us, that people engage with images and video.
Yeah, definitely.
They're quite lazy generally.
Well, yeah, and you can kind of go to town in a landing page with specific video content or image content of that specific product or service, and you can show the user like kind of like enjoying it. So the user needs to see that it's going to benefit them specifically. So you need like imagery of people that relate to that audience, essentially.
Entirely true.
So it's no use having like I don't know, pictures of cartoons on there, because people think, well, I'm not a cartoon. That's a really rubbish example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you do. It comes back to a sort of brand style, graphic style is also really important.
Yeah.
In terms of making sure it resonates with your audience
That's
and doesn't come across
yeah.
cheap, or like you've just downloaded some infographics.
Some stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And put stock
I mean,
images
stock
on
can
there.
be useful for some clients with where they need to use it.
It can support.
It can fill gaps.
Images. Yeah, it can fill gaps, but I think to rely on it and to have it as your kind of your primary source for the campaign imagery, it's never gonna help you.
No, because realistically with stock, not more than likely, but there's a chance the user will have seen it elsewhere.
And I think also it just comes across
Impersonal.
sadly impersonal, and also a bit cheap. Like the brand, your brand hasn't spent any time thinking about the audience, the imagery. You all could argue that people are seeing it like, you haven't got any imagery. Why haven't you got any imagery?
That is the case, I guess, for some clients, depending on what it is. Like a recruitment project, sometimes people don't have images of people doing the job.
No, they
so
don't.
They use stock image of man in white corporate office.
Yeah.
Like
which
clinical tables.
You can understand why they've gone down that route, but
Yeah.
I think from a new person that's just met them and engaged with them, the immediate thought of them is, why have they not got their own imagery? Are they legitimate? Like, if they're passionate about what they do, why can't they show
Invest
me?
in
Why
that,
can't I see who they are and what they're doing and where they are?
Yeah, true.
Why am I seeing generic images that don't help me relate to them? Just what I was saying a minute ago about, that personality.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me with stock is just it's impersonal.
Yeah.
Because people immediately think this is generic.
Yeah.
It's not aimed at me. And also there's a fear, if you're a very face-to-face service-led business, there's a fear people would think, what are you trying to hide? Like, why don't you want me to see what you're actually doing and what your images are?
That's true. Why have you got no photos? They taken on a Nokia.
Yeah, exactly. Why have you not spent any time?
But...
You're passionate about your brand. Why have you not spent any time to show me that?
Yeah.
That makes
sense.
think that's the bit. Yeah, it's all these trust factors.
Yeah. Speaking of trust, I think that's another thing that a landing page is really useful for, is building trust with your user for that specific product or service. Because I mean, in terms of having like testimonials on there for that specific service, you're kind of like giving people you're telling your audience that other people have used them and trust them for that specifically, which I think is really valuable.
Showing them proof that what you do is
kind of like what you were saying about the tradesman thing, like letting someone into your home. You want to let someone into your home that other people trust.
Yeah.
Because yes, you can make your own judgment, but you're far more likely to trust them if other people do too, or if other people have good things to say.
Yeah.
If someone has a bad thing to say about you, or like a company, you're far more likely to think, oh, maybe I won't use them.
That's very true. Yeah, I mean, there's a problem with the internet in general now with reviews and kind of people trying to get reviews in a wrong way, or, you know, reviews that aren't legitimate. And there's a lot of companies out there that are trying to doing tactics and tricks to get reviews from people. And, you know, like Paul and I have said many times, is if somebody that comes in, myself included, if I got an electrician in and I haven't done any electrical work and I come home and they've, you know, the lights are working, I go, brilliant, 5 stars,
he's done great.
no problem, he's done great. I don't know a thing about what he's done in the house. I don't know if it's safe. I don't know how the wiring's been done.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be like, 5-star, brilliant. And there'll be a large proportion of people that are going to do that.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You can build up this kind of, and I think also, you know, over time people have just gotten more immune to that kind of reviews and that kind of seeing these 4 or 5 star. You're not going to put a 1-star review on a landing page because it's going to immediately make people think, oh God, why would you use it? It's a waste of
if you've
money.
got no reviews, that you have to put a 1-star on there.
Exactly. But if it's an authentic review system, which some of them claim, then technically you'd expect to be seeing some variety.
Some, I guess, would just pull directly from Google.
Yeah.
In which case you can't gate what goes through.
No, you can't, which is very dangerous, and a lot of people now don't do that.
But then if you did it, you'd be confident.
You would, but you could still police your Google reviews. So it's where the line is on. People still pay people to review on Google, and they use tactics out there like get 50% off if you review me for the net. You know, it's a bit untoward.
Someone rang me the other day to say, can you leave us, like, they rang and I was like, sorry, I'm busy right now. And they were like, oh, 2 secs, how about you get your service for free? And I was like, okay, what do you mean? They were like, oh, leave us a Trustpilot review and you'll be entered into a draw.
Exactly what I mean. I
see
it
like,
a lot online.
Right.
Yeah, I see it a lot online. It's almost like a form of bribery, you know, like you give us a review and we'll give you some work back. And it's like, but if your work isn't that good, I don't want to be dishonest with people and tell them what you're doing is fantastic. And I think that's just all it is people being wary. But again, a video testimonial, a video review, it's a lot harder to fake.
That's true, but it's harder to get to.
It is harder to get, but it goes a long way. I think just seeing somebody say, you know, this person's made a difference to my business, it's always going to resonate a bit more than just some text that you don't really know the authenticity of.
Yeah, or I read them sometimes and I think I don't want to read a huge paragraph about how great your service was.
No.
I just want to know, are they trustworthy, reliable? Did they do it to a good standard? Not that I've probably ever had to get a tradesman in.
Not yet, luckily, but you might have to at some point. But
Maybe.
I think, again, imagery can help, imagery or video.
Yeah.
Because the images are then going to support that statement of, again, it's not just text. I think that's where people fall down, is just putting text on one is quite weak sometimes. You need to be showing actual proof.
Yeah.
You know, they've done a good job, but in reading it you think, but have they? Why is it a good job? So to see a video on there or an image or something similar, you think, okay, I've got an idea now of why that trust has been built.
Yeah, that's true.
But like you said, it's ability to be quite specific. So if they're looking for something in particular, a service or, you know, again, like a tradesman, if it's a very specific service, they might offer like a plumbing upgrade, for example, that you're looking to have that's been rolled out that is able to be taken up by people, but they don't know about it.
Yeah.
If you can be quite specific on that and say, like, this is what happens, this is how it works, these are the people we've done it for, it works a treat. It helps you save money, it helps your actual plumbing system work better. They've already bought into that, far more likely to get in touch than if you just say something quite generic on a service page.
It's like an afterthought.
That allows you to allows you to home in on that
one point.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's exactly, I think, one of the benefits of it.
Yeah, maybe we should go into a little bit of what is included or what we would typically expect to see in a landing page. I mean, we've covered a lot of it. We've covered imagery, text we've covered.
Yeah.
Testimonials covered.
Yeah.
What else? A hero section, I guess that's kind of almost goes without saying.
Hero section at the top to warm somebody in, which should complement the message of the ad. So whatever you've done or wherever they've got to you from, you want to be nurturing that, as we mentioned previously. But you want to make sure that reflects that as best possible.
Yeah.
And the terminology and the titles and the imagery and the text all complement that message.
And they're all very streamlined, and it's no inconspicuous, is that what I'm actually looking for kind of.
No. Exactly that, and you always want call to actions on there, which is something we're probably not banged on about enough. But it's making sure there's enough call to actions that someone's not gone too far down a page without knowing
that they've missed them, or that they have to scroll all the way to the bottom. I feel like you need more than one. There's no saying though that you couldn't have a button at the top that says "Inquire now" because you've landed on the page. You know already that's what you want. You just want to get in touch, and then it just takes you to the bottom of the page with that link. Like,
you know what you want. You bought into it straight away. You've seen.
Or you've already done your research, kind of thing.
Yeah. But it's bearing in mind that a lot of people that come to a landing page as well, which I think is a really vital point, compared to what we spoke about using organic pages or pages that are on the site already, is that they've never encountered your brand or your business before. They've seen you from an ad, so that their first engagement needs to be like, who are you? What do you do? Why do I trust you? Whereas if you're more organic on the site already, you've probably either encountered them before, you've visited them, you know about them, you've been told about them. So you're choosing to go there and find them and investigate. Whereas a landing page is very much more like, I suppose in a digital sense, as a cold call. Yeah. It's like, hi, we're here. You don't know us yet, but this is what we do.
But you're looking for something similar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to be mindful of, if that was you in that situation, what would you need to see to be confident and safe.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. It's having that real strong top section that does that, and gets to the point quite quickly. Just summarizes what you need to do, because so many landing pages out there. Again, they're either using AI text or they're quite generic copy.
Yeah.
There's nothing
AI
unique
text
about.
Is not it.
It's not the one for landing pages. No, I mean it can help and it can enhance what you've got.
Yeah, if you're stuck for ideas.
Yeah, well, you've got the text already and you know what you're trying to say and you need some help to put it together. True. I think it can do that quite well. But it's just
take the Americanisms out.
Take the Americanisms out. And add the personality of what makes you you. You've got a very short window. It's the old cliche kind of like elevator pitch thing, but you've got a very short window to tell someone what you're doing.
Yeah, don't do it badly.
Don't do it badly. If you're just waffling or you're just telling someone that the other 8 or 9 ads you click on that send you to landing pages, they're all saying the same thing. Why would someone use you?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I always say. So it's what is different about you? What would you say that makes you stand out? And that's the key bit to put on the landing page for me. And then it's, again, making sure someone doesn't drop off. So the call to actions, they've got to be quite directional. You don't want loads of call to actions of different things to do.
You don't need loads. You just need more than one. A dabble.
Yeah, the direction that you want someone to go in, and not, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to? And someone's thinking, I don't know. You give me 3 options. I don't know which option I want to take. What you really want is simple as possible, an option that they can take that's not too committal. Yeah. That you can follow up with. Get them on your list. Nurture them. Make sure that you keep hold of them. Yeah. And don't lose them. I think that's the trick. Yeah.
And I guess that accompanied with other things like email marketing, etc., is kind of how you would go into that, but that's a whole separate.
It's hand in hand, really, isn't it? Because other than a sales thing, like you said, if it's e-commerce, it's a bit different. You can just get a sale. Yeah, because that's
more immediate, and again, depending on the cost of the product. But yeah, if it's a service based or recruitment based or whatever else. Yeah, it's those other touch points.
Yeah, it's not necessarily going to be immediate. Or what incentive can you give? How can you provide that trust to somebody that you can help them before they have to feel like they're committing everything to you? And whether that's a consultation up front, or whether that's a meeting or a call or something that's a little bit less pressured, but something they could see a benefit in. Like, okay, I can have a free kind of 15-20 minute call with someone.
Yeah, I think that really is valuable for people.
Yeah, scope them out, sound them out, see if they are as good as they're saying on here, a chance to ask some questions. Yeah. Then maybe I'm ready to convert with them.
Yeah, as well, again, I think it's a bit of a trust thing. Like, if I know that I'm going to be able to join a call and they'll be sat there, camera on, and I can ask away, not that I've really ever had to do it, but I would probably trust that more than just getting a phone call from someone off a mobile number where I think, oh, okay, is this legit? But then I guess that goes hand in hand with your testimonials, etc.
Yeah, that's true. But it'd be vary on the circumstance, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And then from a sort of analytical point of view, just to close off on that, I think that's pretty much most of the technical side of the landing page is covered.
One thing I did think of was FAQs, which I know they aren't very SEO technically useful anymore. Yeah. Because Google doesn't assess them anymore.
Sadly not.
But even if you did have a couple of FAQs that are the things that people think of for your specific service or product.
On a human level. Yeah.
On a human level, semantically, it's going to be far more beneficial to just have them and then negate someone needed to get in touch with you just to ask that question.
100% agree. So, especially with a landing page that's nuanced to a topic. Yeah. An FAQ I find is very difficult on a website because you're trying to cover people with all bases. And I think that's where Google's come at it from, because it got to a point where, as you know, there was so many. And it was like the latest trend in Google. They've gone through the years of all these trends of cramming keywords in and then doing this tactic and doing that tactic. Well, FAQs came in because of the rich snippets technology in Google, so that if you basically were answering a question that it deemed useful,
Yeah.
it would serve that answer straight away in Google. No need to click on a link, and you'd become trustworthy because Google would say, well, you've answered that question.
Yeah.
You're trustworthy. So that would act really well to your brand, to your domain.
Yeah.
But obviously it got to the point, like you just said, people putting so many FAQs. They
Yeah.
were starting to abuse it. It was starting to tip the scale of, okay, it's no longer trustworthy. It's now full of people
Yeah.
just putting the same responses to each other.
Yeah, and they don't even have the answer to the question half the
Not
time.
even answering the question necessarily. And if
Yeah.
it's a landing page, you can be very specific to that question.
Yeah, you only need a couple, 4 or
do.
5 max.
You
Probably.
do.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. So it's not removing them entirely, but obviously now, because of AI and Google's embraced
Yeah.
AI, a lot of the answers it gives you is based on AI.
Well, it's an
as
AI
well.
overview now,
It's
isn't
an AI
it?
overview. So
Yeah.
that kind of FAQ
And
technology
I don't trust it.
is dropping down. It's
I
it's
just feel like
a
sometimes
very
it-
embryonic thing. It still
Yeah,
needs to,
and sometimes I feel like it's just picked up on one keyword
It
of my
does.
question and give me information about that in bullet points, and I think that's not what I
it
asked.
does. It's the
Whereas an
weakest point
FAQ before would have picked it up.
from a human's writing.
Yeah, true.
So it's the weakest point for me still with ChatGPT and Google AI and all these testing phases with regards to indexing your site, indexing landing pages, indexing SEO is it's now trying to give you one answer,
Yeah,
which Google's always been against because it's saying, the whole point of our search engine is you go through our results,
Yeah.
find the answer
What's
that's
most
most
relevant.
related to you, not the one we think's most related to you. So I think it is a shame in terms of indexing and the way the future will go with landing pages and with website indexing. It's going to change vastly.
yeah,
But you're right, I think, touching on FAQs because it's not something we necessarily promote as hard as we used to because of that. But I think from if it's a specific search term, if we know, say, the top 5 things people ask this customer or this client
Yeah.
of ours that gates them from interacting, if we can put that on the landing page for
yeah.
them,
Debunk the myths.
yeah, they might help just stop people
Yeah.
leaving, stop people having to ask them it again.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
And
valid.
especially if it's something that your product or service differs from others, or a common issue with that product generically, if you can debunk that because yours is different, then that will help too.
Entirely that. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes just to finish, like I said earlier on this kind of topic, is you could also rank for keywords. So what you're ranking for, what you're trying to get the ads for, what you're trying to get the organic for, sometimes can involve competitors depending on the client. So you can be a little bit cheeky with it and try and rank for a competitor term or competitor phrase
Yeah.
to try and get your landing page to show up on their search terms. It's
Yeah.
done a lot.
Like directories do that.
Directories do
Like
it.
if you typed in like best marketing agency,
Exactly.
no doubt there'll be a marketing agency that
Let's put a page
rate
up
them.
that's supposed to be impartial.
It's impartial, but they're number one.
So they're number one.
But then
Exactly.
that was what was working, and it
Yeah.
has worked. And
It's-
actually, they're more often than not like a blog post, so they're more informative,
Yeah, as long as it doesn't come across too
salesy.
pushy
Yeah.
to you, you're the best, we're the best, it's our brand. As long as
Yeah.
it comes across a bit impartial, I think there's still validity. But then you could also say, so from a technical point of view, whether you index or no index the page, which basically means do you want organic search to find it? So if someone searches a term that's not paid for a service like you've just said, do you want that page to show up, or do you actually want to gate that so that it's only paid traffic? And the reason you
that's
might
true.
do that, I think, is purely on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
On the
Well, yeah, it could still be organic traffic through social, I guess.
You could still link
but
to it through
yeah, I know what you
social.
mean. Rather than it indexing and be found naturally.
And it's associating your brand with that term.
Yeah.
Because again, if you are being a little bit untoward, even though you're going to get away with it, but if you are trying to rank for someone else's phrases, keywords, or a subject they do you really want Google kind of associating you with that, or do you want to just leave that for just the paid and the direct links? And that can be a decision that you make.
Yeah,
Case
that's
by
true.
case basis, or a landing page that's a very specific campaign that you just want traffic from an
For
ad
that,
from. You don't want the organic traffic. You want to keep it really clean.
And gate it. Yeah, that's
so
true.
that can be that. Okay, so with regards to the landing pages, then what we haven't discussed is sort of the types of landing pages, perhaps. So you've got more of a salesy type landing pages, which we have covered, but we haven't itemized them out. Then you've got more of a service type landing page, so that would be focused on trying to promote a service. You could have a hybrid of the two. If your company offers services but also sells products, you might want a hybrid of the two. You might just want an informative landing page, so you might have a new business, or you might be sort of thinking about setting up a new business or an idea or a concept of any sort. Really, it could apply to anything that you want to run an ad for. And you just want to introduce the idea or the ad to somebody to get interest from it or to promote something. It could be quite nuance like that. And then there's also the kind of category of landing pages that you could use to complement your existing site. So if you run a service, or if you have a specific sort of list of services that your business runs, you're reliant on people finding you for that service. So what we would ordinarily do is create what we refer to as service area pages. So we can then target people in areas, so towns, cities, wherever it might be, even as far back as counties. So you can organise it quite accurately if you want to. Depends how far you want to go with it. But if you're, say, like we said earlier, if you are a tradesperson and you do roofing, let's say, and you want to make sure you're found for certain areas, if you're not explicitly showing that you service an area, then Google is kind of less likely to serve your result.
Or if you're saying like Southwest roofer, you're not necessarily going to be ranking for Exeter roofer.
Exactly.
Like Newton Abbot roofer.
And it's not as hot as it was, because Google's much more intelligent now than it ever was. So it's not so keyword driven that if you don't mention it, it's never going to rank you. That's not what we're saying. But I think, just making it crystal clear that, if you do service an area, for example, Exeter, and you have a page dedicated to say we service this area in Exeter, these are the clients we worked with.
Yeah.
So I think what is then also abundantly paramount, really, is that you've got the evidence on that service area page. So that's what we'd always encourage a client to do.
Oh, yeah, you can have local evidence. Like a local portfolio, depending on what it is. Yeah,
a mixture of different things, but showing that those clients that you service are in that area, the jobs you've done are in that area, you're very comfortable and able to service that area. I think it just gives you that sort of little leg up above the competition. So if you were in the Southwest, like you said, Ellie, and you service Plymouth, Torquay, Exeter, if you can have pages up there for the service areas of those locations, and you can prove that you do service them. There's photos on there that show people that you've worked there. There's proof of work.
And local testimonials. I've seen that sometimes when people have a testimonial and it'll say John from so-and-so.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, a lot less... People want to know that people around them trust them.
Yeah, it's a lot less relatable for them, a lot less kind of something that they can resonate with, I think. It's closer to them if it's something that they can relate to in terms of, I know that location, I know that area, I know. It's just that trust building versus a broad service. And like I say, yes, Google knows where your business is if you set it up correctly. Yes, it knows that you're local.
But it doesn't necessarily know the whole area you serve.
It doesn't.
And you could even decide that actually you now want business elsewhere outside of your typical area, so you could add a new area
Exactly
page.
That. It gives you, we're not talking about kind of mountains of work, but we're talking about setting up a structure in the website that allows you to scale it with adding new areas you service, allowing people to find you in those areas. And I think that's always going to be beneficial, because in the interest of Google being pro trustworthy content, pro accurate content, as long as you're not lying and you have serviced those areas, then if it's a case of you or 5 other people and I land on your page, why would I not use you? I can see you do service the area, I can see there's evidence there, I found you, there's trust there.
But I think the only thing I guess to highlight with that is that we're not saying that you need 5 pages keyworded differently that are all exactly the same. Like, even in fair enough, layout potentially can remain the same.
Layout can be quite consistent.
But even copy wise, you don't want it to be the same.
No, you don't.
Because it's just going to Google would negatively review that, right, if you had pages that were the same.
And it comes across to a human, a bit like you've been lazy. But at the same time, like we're always saying to clients when they kind of say, a lot of these pages look similar. It's also assessing, but that's a good thing sometimes, because it's creating design consistency, which is a big deal for people.
And then if someone moved area, they think, I recognise them.
Exactly. And how many people that live in Exeter are then going to be interested in finding your Plymouth landing page or your Newton Abbot landing page or your Torquay landing page? They won't be seeing those landing pages as well as the Plymouth. They're only interested in the Plymouth one. Unless they moved.
But then, but if they're not looking coming back to you directly, then they're probably an issue.
The chances of them seeing both of them in succession.
No, they wouldn't happen.
There'd be a pause between.
Yeah, but you could have paid traffic. You could use paid traffic to go to those dedicated service pages anyway.
Yeah, share them everywhere. Put them on social media. Boost your presence. So I think it's a combination of having an agenda, right? For their landing pages. What, like we went back to right at the beginning of the podcast, what's the objectives? What kind of landing page is going to suit you best? What kind of tactics do you want to take? What's your spend? What are you looking to get back?
How much can you service that area? Because realistically, if you've only got capacity to do one job in that area, is it worth it? are you going to like be
Capacity's
having that
a
and
good point.
having to turn work away because you can't do it? Because
Yeah.
actually, when we spoke to a client the other day, they made a really good point. They said that like they typically ask for reviews like after a job's done, but they also get reviews if they can't do the work, and that will like still look badly, because if a client says, oh, when can you fit me in to do this,
Yeah.
and they say, we'd love to do it but we just can't get you in until the new year now or whatever, they kind of, so like the customer will go back and leave a review saying they can't even like get me in until so and so.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, okay, you just can't win.
No, that's true.
Haven't even done the work and they're like, oh, they can't even do the work.
Yeah. No, that's being very mindful of what you're looking to get out of it. Again,
Yeah.
that's a really good point, because
You don't want to encourage that.
There's no point putting your foot down on the acceleration of getting these ads out, getting loads of promotions out, getting people seeing it, and then actually suddenly you've got 50 inquiries.
Yeah, and you can't even get back to them. You can't quote them.
No, you've lost them. You get a negative image
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a really good point. I think that it's all got to be decided
People.
up front, and there's
Yeah.
various ways of using landing pages advantageously. I'd definitely think we can create a lot more, like we've said, focus, a lot more results from a landing page than you would from an organic page. But I think the key take homes are, it's that much more direct messaging.
Yeah.
It's much easier to track.
Yeah.
Much more focused to a subject or a topic that people are searching for.
Yeah.
Ability to create multiple landing pages for different terms.
Yeah.
Again, much more
And
specific.
give them gated specific content.
Gated specific content. Being clever with landing pages, like we said, with service area pages. It doesn't have to just be service areas. It could be any form of
a new service, a new product.
Could be a new service, new product, provided it's in the right kind of setup. You can scale it and keep adding new landing pages which apply more to that particular phrase. But the vital bit is that every one of them is a strong sales tool, and it's not, like you said, it's not copy and pasted. It's not kind of too generic. And the examples of trust on there are relative to the topic of the landing page. If that's an area or a service, it's not generic. It's about that particular topic or service.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, the bottom line is just good copy, good imagery, and good video. You want to tell me, why do I want to use you over every other landing page I've clicked on?
I think that's the thing as well, is like putting yourself above your competitors in that sense, because realistically, if it is a long-term commitment service, they're going to have shopped around.
100%.
They're not going to necessarily convert
You're
the
not
first
the first
time.
person that's told them they're going to put you first, and that they're experts and they're professionals and they do a good job.
Yeah,
and they're
all those buzzwords have been heard already, kind of thing.
You've read them on the other 8 landing pages on if they're any good.
Yeah, true. So, but still saying that, it's not working the opposite way and thinking, okay, well, my competitors are actually pretty naff, so I just need to do the bare minimum. That's still not going to really do much for you.
If you're really stuck, like we said before, it's harking back to what would you say to somebody if they asked you and they said, I've just spoken to, I've been around, I've shopped around, I've spoken to 7 or 8 other people.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if it's right. What would you then, what you would tell that person to get them to buy into you?
Yeah.
That's where I would start, with what you put in a landing page.
Yeah, that's true. What are the key points?
Yeah.
What would you actually tell them in person? I think that's, like you said, one of the main things is actually saying everything you would want to sell them in person, the car salesman kind of thing.
Yeah.
But actually, making that personal to them.
And not taking ages about it, because like we said, there's a very short window with people's attention span.
Yeah.
And the more, if you can say that in a video or an image, great. Use it to compliment.
From a marketing point of view, just as a final thought, I guess, is looking at the metrics you get from that one landing page. Because if you've got a really high bounce rate and people are landing on it, clicking straight off, you need to be assessing what is kind of going wrong.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's something you haven't touched on enough, I think, is how you then measure and act on the results of the landing page. So if the landing page is showing real positive areas of engagement, it's how you can then stoke that and make that better.
Yeah.
Like you say, if people are dropping off and you haven't got tools like Hotjar on there or heat map tracking, how do you know what's upsetting them?
Yeah.
Again, a client could come to us and say, I've run an ad for 6 months, I've spent loads of money, nothing's happened, ads don't work.
Yeah.
And you think, well, landing pages don't work, organic traffic doesn't work. It's how well did you assess that?
Yeah.
Because it's like putting a poster up right outside and just blasting the
and
whole
hoping
area with
people walk
posters and going,
past.
well, that poster didn't work.
Yeah.
And you think, well, didn't it? Well, who's seen it? Where have you put it? Why didn't it work? What's wrong with it? Is the wording wrong?
Yeah.
It's breaking it down into every post is not the same. Every landing page is not the same, right?
Yeah. No, it's so true.
And I think that's where, sometimes we have a difficult time when someone's given someone a really negative experience. They've not tracked things. They've not So
No, that's true.
yeah, from your point
Just
of view,
because you tried it once doesn't mean it won't work for you again.
absolutely not.
And actually, trying something for a week doesn't necessarily always work either.
No, certainly not.
You have
with
to give it the time.
Google's logic, it's you're looking at 3 months or so realistically before it's even started.
Well, I mean, you can leave it a landing page. You can leave there for however long you want to drive to it. I guess.
However long you want it to index it. But
Yeah.
from your point of view, so what you and Jazz were doing in terms of tracking is acting on that month on month or quarterly, however, we agree with the client.
Technically speaking, like ad-wise, paid ad-wise specifically, we monitor them consistently. But then also looking at why are people leaving. So yeah, kind of like with Hotjar and bounce rates. If 100 people are going on the site, but 100 people are bouncing off in the first 30 seconds, you need to, or even less, you need to be thinking, what can I be doing differently? Are these people that are coming to this page perhaps not the traffic I need? Are my search terms in Google wrong, etc.?
Yeah.
Not wrong, but is it attracting the wrong traffic?
Yeah, are they not so focused as they could be?
Yeah.
Or,
is it just people looking for information rather than to convert?
Yeah, exactly, a good point. Yeah, which leads us on to another podcast topic about, ads and
transactional
types of ads, conversational, informational, those kinds of things. Because, they need the landing page needs to complement the objective of what you're trying to focus it on. So if it is an informative thing, which is very rare for a landing page because you do want an action.
Yeah, so but then I feel like you also have to have all the relevant information there to be able to make the action.
Of course.
So yeah, it's that happy medium where you're not bombarding.
The user's intent of the search is not just purely, I just want some information.
Oh yeah, like how much would I get for this?
Yeah, or how many of X is there?
Yeah, or even if, say, for, I don't know, you want to sell your spanners. So you've got a dedicated landing page to sell your spanners, but then you've got a keyword in there that broad matches like spanners, and then it's someone saying, how much would I get for my spanner? They're not trying to like buy.
No, and you've
so it's that
wasted
intent.
Loads and loads of budget, money, and audience on just an incorrectly optimized ad.
Yeah,
like I say, we are crossing.
That's a whole.
Appreciate we're crossing over with ads a bit, but they are quite intertwined. Landing pages and ads, I would say, because again, from an organic point of view, other than the service area pages and tactics that we've kind of covered, you'd look to use the majority of your core pages on your website for the organic side, but the specific search results would be more on ads.
Yeah.
So you'd use the landing page to target an ad.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, you can be focused, like we've said, you can focus a landing page with keywords. It's just a very intensive process to go through to create a page that's purely organic.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you do throw some sort of traffic at that.
Yeah.
Hence why we had such a focus on ads, I think, with that.
Yeah, well, because I think for like landing page wise, you would most likely have paid traffic going to it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of rounds the point. Otherwise, why not just have it as a service page?
Yeah, that's true.
Or product page.
Exactly that. Yeah, and optimize your site correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I think we've covered most things there that we're looking to kind of brush over. I hope we haven't kind of gone overboard in certain areas, but hopefully it's quite clear on.
Yeah. Guess we'll find out. Let us know.
Let us know, yeah. If there's anything else you want to know on landing pages.
Yeah, I feel like we've given a pretty comprehensive cover.
Yeah, I think we've covered all the bits that we'd probably look to cover with explaining it. From our point of view with the client, how we work, how we do landing pages. So, yeah, hopefully it's been useful.
Yep.
Catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.